Have you ever found yourself, just wrestling with a deep sense of regret, that lingering unease over something you said or maybe did, wishing you could really truly make it right?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling. Such a potent, universal human experience, isn't it?
It really is that need to mend a broken connection, maybe restore some balance after a wrong's been committed. It just resonates, across cultures, across centuries.
Yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really embarking on a journey into one of the most, I think, profound and transformative human practices,
Yeah.
making amends. Our focus is step 9 of Alcoholics Anonymous, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others.
Hmm.
But look, this isn't just about the practicalities of a recovery program. We're going much deeper.
Correct.
We're exploring the spiritual roots of restitution, not merely as an apology, but really as a path to restoring justice and healing relationships.
And that's the core question, isn't it? How far back do the roots of this practice, this making amends, how far back do they really go?
Exactly. Is this a uniquely modern concept, born out of contemporary recovery? Or are there maybe ancient echoes, profound spiritual insights guiding humanity towards reconciliation, towards healing for millennia?
That's truly the heart of our mission today, I think. Uncovering how this timeless spiritual wisdom, often from antiquity, finds just startling resonance in modern recovery programs. And our extraordinary guide on this journey is going to be St. Augustine.
Augustine, yeah,
Yep.
one of the most influential figures in Western thought.
Definitely. And his monumental work, Confessions. It isn't just a theological text, it's raw. It's deeply personal, an account of his own self-discovery, his own reconciliation. It makes him, an ancient spiritual seeker and, in many ways, a profound psychologist whose journey offers these just striking parallels to the recovery path.
So our mission today is pretty clear then. Explore restitution not just as a simple sorry, but as this profound practice of restoring justice, healing relationships. We'll draw these compelling parallels between Augustine's spiritual odyssey and the specific path of step 9. We want to reveal the enduring wisdom embedded in the AA program, really, for all of us.
Hmm.
So this deep dive, it's for anyone curious about the human spirit's, boundless capacity for transformation and healing, and how these principles, they really transcend specific contexts, speaking to that universal human condition. Okay, so to truly appreciate the spiritual depths of amends, we first need to understand its practical application within recovery, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Context is key.
Step 9 in Alcoholics Anonymous is this critical turning point. But, like you said, it's built upon significant preparatory work. So let's start by unpacking the fundamental necessity of amends. Why are they so incredibly important in the recovery process?
Well, it's really crucial to grasp here is how addiction fundamentally distorts a person's life. It inevitably places the substance itself right at the absolute center.
Everything revolves around it.
Everything. And when someone is actively drinking or using, the ripple effects of their choices, their actions, sometimes their inactions, cause suffering to others. And these harms, they can be direct, obvious, or sometimes they're subtle but deeply impactful, affecting those closest certainly, but even more distant acquaintances too.
So it sounds like it's not just about the direct harms, the obvious stuff, but maybe a deeper internal dynamic that fuels that destructive behavior.
Precisely. You've hit it. At the root of so much of this harmful behavior lies this profound self-centeredness.
Okay.
And this isn't just a casual personality trait.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pervasive pattern where selfishness, self-pity, resentment, dishonesty, fear, these become the dominant forces in someone's life.
Wow.
These internal drives can completely commandeer an individual's existence, leading to immense personal trouble, sure, but also significant alienation from others. For instance, our sources, they talk about accounts of women who lost their self-respect, literally couldn't face people. One said she'd lie like a trooper just to escape difficult situations.
Desperate measures.
Absolutely desperate measures, all fueled by the need to protect the addiction. Another person in recovery reflected on how being a people pleaser, paradoxically, led them into dishonest behavior, purely to maintain their position and, enable their addiction.
That's a really stark picture of the sort of twisted logic of self-preservation that takes over. How deep does that self-deception actually go? And what are some of the maybe surprising ways it manifests just to protect the addiction?
Oh, it can run incredibly deep. I mean, blurring the lines of reality for the individual. Before recovery, life often descends into this state that AA terms unmanageability.
Unmanageability, right.
And look, this isn't always characterized by dramatic external chaos, although it frequently is. More subtly sometimes, it's an internal state of self-imposed disorder,
Mm.
marked by continuous lying, hiding secrets, and this profound feeling of just being trapped by your own choices.
Trapped.
Yeah. Caroline Knapp, in Drinking a Langdory, she initially dismissed the idea of her life being unmanageable, thought her episodes were just, accidents.
Right.
Only later did she realize that concept perfectly encapsulated the story of her entire life. A constant struggle against this unseen force. And this pervasive state, it leads to a fundamental loss of self-respect, an inability to trust your own judgment. It creates immense internal pain and isolation.
That internal pain must be just immense. It's not just the external fallout, is it? It's that constant battle raging within oneself.
Indeed. The struggle isn't limited to external interactions or consequences at all. It's this incessant internal conflict, where the intense cravings for alcohol or drugs constantly clash with a genuine desire not to drink.
A war inside.
It really is. An internal war leading to immense psychological pain and a pervasive self-deception that can endure for years. It's the unique suffering of addiction itself, this relentless disagreement between one's conscious will and that deeply conditioned, often unconscious drive to use. And this state of internal turmoil, you see, it makes genuine self-reflection and honest engagement with others almost impossible, which just further deepens the cycle of harm.
Okay, so step 9, the act of making amends. It's clearly not an isolated action then. It's the culmination of this deep, often arduous journey of self-discovery and internal change, meticulously mapped out by the steps that come before it.
Exactly.
So what are these foundational steps? How do they progressively prepare someone for that readiness to actually make amends?
That's a critical question, isn't it?
Hmm?
How do you transition from that deeply unmanageable, self-deceptive state to a place where genuine amends are even possible? It all fundamentally begins, really, with step 1, admission of powerlessness.
Step 1, the beginning.
The absolute beginning. This is the crucial first step, where individuals honestly admit their powerlessness over alcohol and that their lives have become unmanageable. The Big Book really emphasizes that few people sincerely attempt the AA program without first hitting some kind of personal bottom.
Right, hitting bottom.
A point where the pain of continuing finally outweighs the fear of stopping. It's a moment of profound, often undeniable surrender to reality.
Okay. Once that initial admission of powerlessness is made, what's the next phase on this path, this deep self-discovery and internal work?
Well, from that foundational surrender, the journey moves to step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves.
The inventory, that sounds intense.
It is intense. This is where the real internal excavation begins. It demands a rigorous, unflinching, and honest look at oneself, identifying character defects, but importantly, not to wallow in guilt.
Okay.
The aim is to cultivate a non-judgmental awareness of who one truly is, to accept what's discovered, and crucially, to develop a genuine willingness to change. As courage to change reminds us, we have to be ready for shortcomings to be removed, doing everything we can to prepare ourselves mentally, emotionally for that transformation.
That sounds incredibly vulnerable, almost terrifying for many people, I'd imagine. Who do you then share that deeply personal inventory with?
Well, that leads directly to step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs.
Sharing it. Wow.
Yeah. This is a profoundly vulnerable act,
Mhm.
often accompanied by intense feelings of dread, unworthiness, maybe even humiliation. Sharing these certain facts about their lives, as the book says, with another human being is considered crucial for fostering true humility.
Yeah, humility.
It's about letting go of that ego-driven need to be the smartest or the strongest or, any other superlative, and simply accepting oneself as a flawed human being. And interestingly, even if the person listening doesn't share much back, the feeling of them being with me every step of the way is incredibly critical for the person making the admission. It fosters a sense of shared humanity, reduces that isolation.
So after laying bare one's wrongs and sharing them, the focus shifts more inward again, preparing for the actual change.
Exactly. Steps 6 and 7 then center on cultivating that internal readiness and genuine humility.
6 and 7.
Step 6 is about being entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And step 7 is about humbly asking for their removal. Humility is absolutely essential here. It transforms one's attitude towards a higher power. From seeing it as, the book calls it a Bush League pinch hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Basically, a minor player brought in only as a last resort in emergencies to placing that power first in one's life. This signifies a fundamental shift from self-will to a willingness to be guided by something greater. These steps, 6 and 7, they represent a goal you continually strive towards. Understanding that immediate perfection isn't achievable, but a sincere beginning is absolutely necessary.
And with all that rigorous internal work done, the inventory, the admission, the readiness, the humility, then a willingness to act emerges, leading directly to the preparation for amends.
That's step 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all.
Look in the list. And willing.
The willingness is key. This step demands clear thinking, profound honesty, and immense courage. It requires acknowledging that uncomfortable truth that, yes, we do hurt people when we're drinking. And it squarely shifts the focus onto one's own behavior and responsibility, rather than deflecting with statements like, oh, I didn't hurt anyone but myself.
Right, that classic denial.
Exactly. The spirit of this step is about creating the best possible relations and, crucially, freeing oneself from the burdens of the past. It involves recognizing the broad spectrum of harms caused to partners, children, employers, coworkers, neighbors, friends, family, and how deeply these impact one's own sense of self and self-worth. It's a comprehensive look backward. Hashtag 1.3, defining amends beyond apology.
Okay, we've now navigated that difficult introspective terrain leading right up to step 9. Let's really clarify what making amends truly entails, because it's clearly much more than just a simple, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a critical distinction.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is the difference between a mere apology and genuine restitution.
Restitution. Okay.
Making amends often involves restitution that goes far beyond just expressing remorse. It demands true willingness, profound sincerity, and, most importantly, a demonstration of a fundamental change in conduct. The core idea is to make right what was made wrong. And that frequently necessitates concrete, tangible action, not just words.
And the harms caused by addiction, as you said, they're so varied, impacting so many different people in unique ways.
That's right. Addiction creates this incredibly wide spectrum of harms. It causes suffering to nearly everyone in an individual's life: partners, children, employers, coworkers, neighbors, friends, family. And these harms, they don't just affect those relationships externally. They deeply erode one's own sense of self and self-worth. It makes recovery an inherently relational process. That painstaking process of identifying these harms in step 8 is all about acknowledging this broad, often devastating impact.
What about making amends to children, though? That sounds particularly sensitive. It feels like that could easily go wrong.
It absolutely is sensitive,
Well,
and the
sure,
sources strongly emphasize the need for caution with children. Admitting every past wrong to children, especially concerning a parent's active addiction, might actually injure them further. It could overwhelm them with inappropriate information or place this undue burden of guilt or confusion on them. So, in these highly sensitive cases, general amends made through becoming more loving, caring, and considerate parents are often far more beneficial.
A leaving amend.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating a changed behavior, a living amend, rather than detailed, potentially damaging confessions. The focus must always be on a child's well-being and the positive future of the relationship.
That brings up a really crucial point about guilt, doesn't it? How do you know when it's genuinely time to let go of that burden? Because it seems like it could become never-ending.
This raises an important question about the long-term impact of unresolved guilt. The journey of recovery includes the vital importance of letting go of the guilt at the appropriate time. There's actually a poignant story from an Al-Anon meeting about a woman whose mother, a recovering alcoholic, was still making amends for things that happened decades ago.
Decades, wow.
Yeah. And the daughter, having long since forgiven her, found her mother's never-ending amends actually interfered with their current relationship. It burdened the daughter with her mother's persistent, self-imposed regret.
So the amends became about the mother's guilt, not the daughter's healing.
Precisely. Amends are not meant to be a perpetual self-punishment for the amender. They are for genuine healing and restoration for both parties, ideally. Clinging to guilt, paradoxically, can actually hinder true reconciliation and prevent both people from moving forward. The ultimate goal is to become truly free of the past by approaching relationships differently, with integrity and presence, right here, right now.
Okay, with that solid understanding of step 9 in place, let's now turn our gaze back to our ancient guide. We're going to explore St. Augustine's life and his monumental work, Confessions.
Yeah, let's dive in.
And discover how his profound journey of transformation offers this striking ancient mirror to these very modern principles of amends and recovery.
What's truly remarkable here, I think, is that Augustine is often primarily viewed as, a Christian theologian, a pastor.
Right, that's the common image.
But As our sources really highlight, he was also a profoundly insightful psychologist for the ancient world. His Confessions, it isn't merely a spiritual autobiography. It's a groundbreaking deep dive into human nature, offering these acute observations, detailed descriptions of human motives, complex emotions, the intricate interaction of will and thought, and the very inner nature of the human self.
Wow, so long before modern psychology.
Long before, his work laid significant groundwork for contemporary depth psychology, even existentialist philosophy. He was grappling with these internal landscapes centuries before Freud or Jung. His insights truly insist on understanding the internal world as a prerequisite for any meaningful external action or change.
So he wasn't just contemplating abstract theological concepts then. He was scrutinizing the very fabric of human experience, much like someone in modern recovery might undertake that rigorous examination of their own internal mechanisms and motivations.
Exactly. A hallmark of Augustinian philosophy is its insistent demand that reflective thought issue in practical consequence.
Thought into action.
Precisely. He wasn't interested in contemplation just for its own sake or in mere intellectual exercises. Instead, he constantly sought practical means to bring individuals to their proper goals, which for him meant salvation, peace, truly living in accordance with divine will. This pragmatic, results-oriented approach, focusing on tangible change stemming from internal reflection, makes his journey incredibly resonant with the action-oriented steps of recovery we've been discussing. Hashtag tag 2.2 Augustine's early life and inner turmoil.
Okay, so given his later profound spiritual insights and, intellectual gravitas, what was Augustine's early life actually like? Was he always on this sort of elevated spiritual path, or did he too experience a period of intense struggle and profound inner turmoil that drove his later transformation?
Oh, far from it. Augustine vividly recounts his weary wanderings during his 29th year, describing a period where he felt utterly lost, unable to find himself, much less God.
Lost at 29.
Yeah. He was intellectually entangled by the eloquent but ultimately unfulfilling teachings of the Manichaeans. That was a dualistic religious movement of the time, believing the world was a struggle between good and evil forces.
Right, the Manichaeans.
He was constantly seeking truth, but never quite grasping it in a way that brought him real peace or lasting direction. This extended period of intense intellectual and spiritual quest, but devoid of genuine self-knowledge or inner harmony, it resonates powerfully with that unmanageability and internal conflict felt by those in the throes of active addiction.
In this journey of wandering, it eventually led to a powerful turning point, didn't it? A moment of deep emotional reckoning, a true crisis.
Indeed. He describes this catalytic moment of profound reflection, what he called a mighty storm, accompanied by a mighty rain of tears.
A mighty storm of tears. Powerful imagery.
Isn't it? He speaks of how deep reflection had drawn up out of the secret depths of my soul all my misery and had heaped it up before the sight of my heart. It was this overwhelming realization of his own moral failures, his self-deception, the utter internal chaos that gripped him.
Hitting his bottom.
Very much so. He cried out in anguish, "And thou, O Lord, how long? How long, O Lord? Wilt thou be angry forever? O remember not against us our former iniquities."
Yeah.
He felt still enthralled by them, by these past wrongs, these destructive patterns, and he anguished, "How long? How long? Tomorrow and tomorrow. Why not now? Why not this very hour make an end to my uncleanness?"
Why not now? That's the cry of desperation.
Absolutely. It reflects this deep, desperate desire for an immediate end to his wrongs and for cleansing, a breaking point mirroring that hitting bottom experience so often described in recovery narratives.
That anguished cry, why not this very hour make an end to my uncleanness? It sounds eerily similar to the desperate prayers you hear from people hitting their own personal bottom, doesn't it?
It really is. The language is so raw.
So how did Augustine move from that profound despair to what you called a transformative spiritual awakening?
Well, following that period of intense personal reflection and anguish, Augustine describes being admonished by these books to return into myself.
Turning inward.
Exactly. He recounts how he entered into my inward soul, guided by thee, and with the eye of my soul, such as it was, saw above the same eye of my soul and above my mind the immutable light.
The immutable light. Wow.
This was a pivotal moment of profound spiritual experience, an encounter with the divine.
An immutable light. That sounds incredibly powerful, almost beyond description. How did he try to convey its nature? What did that mean to him?
Yeah, he was very precise in trying to clarify that this was no ordinary light. It was not the common light which all flesh can see, nor was it just a brighter, more intense version of earthly light. He described it as Different, yeah. Very different from all earthly life, whatever. He sensed its inherent superiority, understanding that it had made him, and he was subordinate to it, made
Uh,
by it. When he first knew thee, this light didst lift me up, that I might see that there was something to be seen, though I was not yet fit to see it.
Not yet fit to see it fully.
Right. This experience, even though he only glimpsed it imperfectly at first, caused him to tremble with love and fear. A powerful combination of awe and humility.
That tremor of love and fear and the encounter with the transforming light, it sounds remarkably similar to accounts of spiritual awakenings that are so central to recovery.
It absolutely does. You can draw a direct, compelling connection here to Bill Wilson's own bright light God experience in Towns Hospital, which happened after taking belladonna.
Bill W.'s experience, right?
This and similar profound transformative moments are precisely what AA literature refers to as a spiritual awakening, a new state of consciousness and being. In William James's seminal work, The Varieties of Religious Experience, which Bill Wilson himself was deeply influenced by, speaks directly to these sudden and complete conversion experiences and the lighting up of new crises of emotion, leading to regenerative effects unattainable in other ways.
The James connection is crucial.
Absolutely. Augustine's experience is this powerful, ancient example of just such a fundamental, life-altering, transformative event.
So such a profound experience as encountering the immutable light must have been utterly transformative for him. Did it immediately present a clear path forward, like a call to change, or was that more of a gradual realization?
It was indeed a profound call for internal transformation. Augustine describes hearing a voice, or maybe an inner declaration, stating, "I am the food of strong men. Grow, and you shall feed on me. Nor shall you change me, but you shall be changed into my likeness."
You should be changed into my likeness.
Yeah. This signifies a complete internal shift, a divine invitation to become something entirely new, rather than trying to assimilate God into his old, flawed self. It's a call for a fundamental reorientation of one's entire being, a deep internal realignment.
So following that, he made a conscious decision, a dramatic turning point where he truly resolved to dedicate his life to this new path.
He did, and he recounts a powerful anecdote to illustrate this. He and a friend heard a story about others dedicating their lives to God, and Augustine found himself reflecting on their own worldly pursuits, comparing their desire to be friends of the emperor with the immediate possibility of becoming a friend of God.
A stark contrast.
Right. He exclaims, "But if I chose to become a friend of God, see, I can become one now." In that moment, he made a firm, unequivocal resolution to serve God, and I enter into that service from this hour in this place. The world dropped away from his mind.
Just like that.
His friends, witnessing this profound declaration, apparently bewail themselves and congratulate their friends on their godliness. This is a conscious turning over of his will, a decisive break from old patterns, marking a new path consecrated entirely to God. It perfectly reflects that fundamental willingness that's so crucial for success and recovery. Hashtag 2.4 Augustine's Confession as Amends.
Okay, so Augustine experienced this profound spiritual transformation, this definitive turning point. How did this translate into an act of making amends or restitution? Especially given that his Confessions is a book written long after the events it describes. It's not a direct, immediate apology to specific people.
That's a great point. And what's truly profound here is that Augustine's Confessions itself serves as a monumental act of restitution.
The book itself is amends. How so?
Well, it is this radical bearing of his soul, admitting his sins, his former iniquities, not just to himself or to God in private, but to humanity through the very act of writing and publishing this work. This public vulnerability, this honest self-assessment, deeply mirrors the courage and humility required in Step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. He held nothing back, laying bare his darkest moments for all to see in this quest for truth and reconciliation that extended far beyond just his own personal guilt.
Thinking about confessions as a public act of restitution offers a really powerful lens. What does this broader sort of spiritual form of amends teach us about healing beyond a direct personal apology, especially in situations where direct amends might be complex or even impossible?
Yeah, this broader perspective is incredibly insightful, I think. While Augustine didn't issue direct apologies, say, in letters to specific individuals he may have harmed in his youth, his profound internal transformation and his subsequent dedication to a life of service and truth, guided by God, served as a powerful, living form of spiritual restitution.
A living amend.
Exactly. His entire changed life became a living amend, a testament to God's redeeming love and a continuous demonstration of a fundamental change of conduct. This resonates deeply with that wisdom from A Woman's Way Through the 12 Steps, which advises that general amends to children are often best made through consistently changed, more loving and caring behavior, rather than explicit admissions that might inadvertently cause further harm. His life itself was the living proof of his repentance and ongoing transformation. It demonstrates that restitution can be embodied and lived, not just spoken.
And he also deeply emphasized the need for a kind of spiritual cleansing, didn't he? That seems connected.
Absolutely. Augustine's writings contain these powerful exhortations like, "Wash yourselves and make you clean. Put away iniquity from your souls and from before my eyes." This connects directly to the cleansing and restorative nature of making amends and recovery. It's about purifying oneself from the stain and burden of past actions and thoughts, not merely to alleviate guilt, but to truly prepare the soul for a new way of being, a new relationship with God and with others, free from the lingering effects of past harms. This spiritual cleansing is presented as a fundamental prerequisite for genuine, ongoing restitution.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. We've laid out the path to amends and recovery. We've deeply explored St. Augustine's personal transformation. Now let's explicitly connect the dots. Draw those clear, undeniable parallels between Augustine's journey and the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay, if we connect this to the bigger picture, both paths fundamentally begin with a rigorous, often painful process of self-examination.
Right, looking inward.
Augustine's journey involved being admonished by these books to return into myself and delving into the secret depths of my soul to unearth all my misery. This was an intensely inward gaze, a courageous confrontation with his own internal state, his motivations, his past actions that led to his distress.
Building on Augustine's deep introspection, how does the searching and fearless moral inventory of Step 4 further illuminate the challenges and rewards of this self-examination, specifically in the context of recovery? That level of introspection sounds incredibly challenging.
It is. How does Augustine's inward gaze specifically parallel the searching and fearless moral inventory of Step 4? And what unique aspects does each journey bring? Well, it mirrors Step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Both demand this brutal, uncompromising honesty about one's past behavior and character defects. Confronting directly how one has caused harm to others, this is far from a casual reflection. It's a searching and fearless dive into the most difficult truths about oneself. And our sources highlight that the achievement of freedom from fear is a lifetime undertaking, one that can never be wholly completed.
A lifetime undertaking.
Yeah. For alcoholics, fear and pride are often these monumental obstacles that make the immediate admission of wrongs incredibly difficult. The inventory process in AA helps to systematically chip away at these barriers. It fosters a non-judgmental awareness and cultivates a profound willingness to accept what is found, however uncomfortable or painful that initial discovery might be.
Okay, so once that deep self-examination is done, the next crucial parallel involves admitting those wrongs, a concept that is absolutely central to both Augustine's Confessions and the 12 Steps.
What's truly fascinating here is how Augustine's entire work, Confessions, stands as this monumental public act of vulnerability. It is an admission of his past iniquities, a laying bare of his soul, seeking reconciliation not just with God, but through the very act of publication, with humanity itself. This public, vulnerable self-revelation is an implicit act of restitution and a profound pathway to healing, demonstrating a courage that just transcends time.
And in recovery, this takes the form of a very specific, deeply personal, and often, terrifying step.
Yes, it directly parallels Step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. This act, as we discussed, is often filled with profound doubt and dread, a sense of deep unworthiness or even humiliation.
But crucial.
Absolutely crucial for cultivating genuine humility and initiating profound healing. It's about letting go of the need to be the smartest or the most powerful or any other est, and truly accepting oneself, warts and all, as a fallible human being. And the profound reward of this step, according to the sources, is the fulfilling sense that all need each other both to receive from and to give to. The healing wholeness of salvation from self-centeredness comes from the shared honesty of mutual vulnerability openly acknowledged.
Mutual vulnerability, that's powerful.
It's incredibly therapeutic. A direct and powerful path to deeper understanding and connection, liberating the individual from the heavy burden of their secrets.
So after confronting and admitting these wrongs, the next logical and essential step seems to be a willingness to actually change. How does Augustine's powerful resolve compare to the readiness asked for in recovery?
Augustine's journey clearly demonstrates this, doesn't it? His resolve, born from his mighty storm of tears and that transformative encounter with the immutable light, it culminated in that decisive declaration. Now I have broken loose from those hopes we had, and I am determined to serve God, and I enter into that service from this hour in this place.
From this hour in this place. So immediate.
Yeah, this is a complete turning of his will. A conscious, unwavering decision to forsake old ambitions and embrace a new, spiritually guided life. It wasn't just a fleeting thought or an aspiration. It was a profound commitment to immediate action.
This inner resolve, this absolute commitment, it really seems like a non-negotiable prerequisite for both journeys, doesn't it? Ultimately leading to the practical steps of character transformation.
Exactly. This directly corresponds to steps 6 and 7 in recovery. Step 6 is being entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, and step 7 is humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings.
Readiness and humility.
Right. These steps are understood as a profound goal towards which one continuously strives, a commitment to ongoing spiritual growth. They acknowledge that perfection isn't immediate or automatically granted, but a sincere and sustained beginning is absolutely necessary. Both paths highlight that true, deep inner change, a complete reorientation of will and purpose, is a prerequisite for any effective external action. As the AA Big Book states, our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change,
A changed outlook.
reflecting a profound shift from self-seeking behavior to a genuine willingness to go to any lengths for sobriety and spiritual growth. This willingness is truly the engine that drives the entire transformative process forward.
And with that profound inner transformation and willingness firmly in place, we finally arrive at the crucial action, the act of making restitution. Augustine's life transformed dramatically, much like someone in recovery who is now ready to make direct amends.
Indeed. Augustine's internal transformation wasn't an end in itself. It was the genesis of a new life consecrated to God's will, a life that would profoundly influence Western thought for centuries. His changed being, his dedicated service, his relentless pursuit of truth, this was his amend. It was a living, ongoing act of restitution that demonstrated a fundamental and undeniable shift in his character and purpose. This is very much aligned with that idea from A Woman's Way Through the 12 Steps, about general amends to children being best made through consistently changed, more loving and supportive behavior, rather than just words or specific confessions. His life itself was the living proof.
In step 9 makes this action explicit and direct, doesn't it? Moving from internal change to outward manifestation.
Yes, step 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. This moves beyond mere intention to concrete, often challenging action.
The action step.
This is about actively seeking to restore justice and healing relationships by directly approaching those who are harmed and, where appropriate, offering a genuine apology, listening to their experience, and making restitution in a tangible way. And the belief underpinning this is that the grace of God cures disharmony and disorder in human relationships. Directly you put your affairs, with their confusion and their difficulties, into God's hands. He begins to effect a cure of all the disharmony and disorder.
So relying on a higher power for the outcome, too.
Exactly. It demonstrates a reliance on a higher power, not just for personal change, but for the very outcome of these interactions, seeking divine guidance to make them effective and truly healing. And that nuance, that critical caveat of not injuring others during amends, particularly in delicate situations like with children, strongly resonates with Augustine's ultimate focus on the spirit of the action and its ultimate constructive, rather than destructive impact. It's about repairing, not rewounding.
The ultimate outcome of this entire arduous process, both for Augustine centuries ago and for those committed to recovery today, seems to be this profound spiritual awakening. How do these deeply personal experiences connect, despite being separated by millennia?
Augustine's experience of the immutable light, that was his profound, deeply personal encounter with the divine. It lifted him above himself, transforming his perspective and leading to a fundamental transformation of his personality, a shift that reoriented his entire life's purpose and trajectory. It was a direct, deeply personal experience of God's tangible presence, leading to an entirely new state of being and consciousness for him.
The resonance with step 12 is just undeniable, isn't it? Could you elaborate a bit more on how Augustine's experience of the immutable light serves as a direct parallel to the spiritual awakening described in AA?
It's a truly striking parallel that speaks, I think, to a universal human experience. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. It describes a remarkably similar transformative state. This spiritual awakening is explicitly defined in AA literature as a new state of consciousness and being received as a free gift.
A free gift.
Yeah, it is the powerful culmination of the entire process, bringing with it a profound joy of living, a deep freedom from self-centeredness, and a renewed sense of purpose that extends into all aspects of life, not just abstinence. And what's truly critical here, again, is that historical connection to William James. His monumental work, The Varieties of Religious Experience, profoundly influenced Bill Wilson, AA's co-founder.
Right. We mentioned James earlier.
Gent extensively discussed sudden and complete conversion and the lighting up of new crises of emotion, leading to regenerative effects unattainable in other ways. The idea that faith in some kind of God was a part of our makeup became a cornerstone of AA, mirroring Augustine's experience centuries before. Both paths illustrate that this spiritual awakening isn't just about feeling better or finding peace. It's about a fundamental recreation of the self, enabling individuals to live in, as the Big Book says, a new and wonderful world, no matter their external circumstances. #4, the timeless wisdom of restitution and relationship.
We've now explored these profound connections between St. Augustine's journey of confession and Step 9 of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's undeniably clear that the practice of making amends is deeply rooted in human spirituality and this quest for integrity. Now, let's maybe zoom out a bit and consider the timeless wisdom embedded in these paths, particularly regarding the immense power of healing relationships and that profound quest for true self-integrity. #tag 4.1, the power of healing relationships.
Yeah, zooming out, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really underscores a profound truth. Relationships are the soil that nourishes our lives.
The soil that nourishes our lives. I like that.
It's evocative, isn't it?
Yeah.
We are fundamentally social beings, defined by our intricate connections to partners, children, colleagues, friends, family. These interactions aren't just external events, they are absolutely integral to our sense of self, our sense of self-worth. When addiction disrupts and damages these vital connections, it effectively starves the soul, leading to deep isolation and internal decay.
So recovery isn't just about stopping the substance use then, it's intrinsically about rebuilding those vital connections that nourish us as humans.
Precisely. Recovery programs are meticulously designed to provide a safe, nurturing environment where individuals can begin to feel loved, cared for, and truly understood again. This supportive container, this relational fabric, is absolutely crucial for genuine healing. Much like an infant needs a secure and nurturing environment to grow and develop healthily, it's within this space of non-judgmental acceptance and restored connection that the deep work of recovery, including the often difficult process of making amends, can truly flourish and bear fruit.
That makes perfect sense.
And this concept of interconnectedness, it echoes the profound wisdom found in texts like Ralph Waldo Trine's In Tune with the Infinite, which, by the way, was influential in early AA circles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Trine states, when we fully realize the great fact of the oneness of all life, that all are partakers from this one infinite source, and so that the same life is the life in each individual, then prejudices go and hatred cease. Love grows and reigns supreme. Healing relationships, therefore, isn't just about meticulously fixing individual wrongs or apologizing for specific harms. It's about reestablishing this fundamental oneness, fostering genuine love, and systematically dismantling the walls of prejudice, resentment, and hatred that addiction so effectively erects between individuals.
Making amends, though, despite its clear necessity, sounds like it could easily become a perpetual burden if it's not approached with wisdom and balance. How do these ancient and modern paths guide us beyond potentially paralyzing guilt towards true, liberating freedom?
Yeah, that's an important and often overlooked question about the nature of guilt. While acknowledgement of harm is absolutely crucial for growth, guilt, especially mother guilt, can be overwhelming and ultimately counterproductive if it transforms into this continuous cycle of self-punishment.
Right.
The anecdote we mentioned earlier about the mother in Al-Anon who was still making amends for decades, even when her daughter had long since forgiven her, illustrates this perfectly. Such never-ending amends, driven more by the amender's own unresolved guilt than by the injured person's actual needs, can actually interfere with current relationships and place an undue burden on the recipient. There is a time and a crucial need to let go of the guilt for true healing to occur for everyone involved.
So amends are really about progress and forward movement then, not about perpetuating punishment or some kind of self-flagellation.
Exactly. The ultimate goal of amends is to foster genuine freedom from the past. When we genuinely approach relationships differently in the present with honesty, integrity, and a changed heart, we effectively become free of those past entanglements and their emotional grip. It's about moving forward with a transformed internal landscape and consistently changed behavior, rather than clinging to past wrongs or constantly reliving them. This aligns beautifully with the changed outlook described in AA, where self-seeking has started to slip away, gradually replaced by a willingness to grow, serve, and live sober. The past, of course, cannot be changed, but its destructive power over us can be profoundly released through honest, action-oriented restitution, followed by a profound process of forgiveness, both forgiveness for ourselves and hopefully receiving forgiveness from those we have harmed. Hashtag 4.3 Integrity and the Birth of Self.
This entire journey we've been tracing from rigorous self-examination through making amends and experiencing spiritual awakening, it sounds like a process of radical self-redefinition.
It truly is. Recovery, particularly through the intricate process of the steps leading to amends, is a profound journey where a genuine, authentic sense of self begins to emerge, often for the very first time.
Finding your true self.
Yeah, it's about asking fundamental questions that addiction had long silenced or distorted. What do I think? What do I feel? What is my truth? What are my genuine options? This journey enables individuals to start resonating inside yourself and figuring out what is true for you, not what will please other people or make them happy. It's a reclamation of personal agency and authentic identity.
It sounds almost like a kind of rebirth, a profound transformation of identity from maybe a one-dimensional self to something much richer and more integrated.
It's often vividly likened in the literature to literally needing to give birth to the self,
Giving birth to the self. Powerful.
isn't it? This means moving beyond the one-dimensional addicted self that was solely focused on the substance and its associated behaviors, to a multifaceted self in relationship to others and to God as we understand him or her. And the sheer difficulty of the self-discovery cannot be overstated after years, sometimes decades, of hiding intense self-consciousness and using alcohol or drugs as an escape, a shield, or maybe a false source of power and courage.
Right.
Making amends then becomes an incredibly crucial part of reclaiming one's narrative, rebuilding internal and external integrity, and stepping fully into this newly birthed, authentic self. And this entire arduous process, though undeniably humbling, ultimately brings one closer to the sunlight of the spirit, as AA literature puts it, leading to profound happiness, genuine friendship, and internal harmony. It cultivates a deeper understanding of humility, the profound ability to look at oneself honestly, accept what is found without crushing self-judgment, and the unwavering capacity to accept genuine responsibility for one's actions. It transforms individuals from those who hide, deceive, and damage into people who are open, honest, courageous, and truly capable of deep, meaningful connections. This fundamental transformation is the very core of true recovery and the timeless wisdom of restitution that we've explored today.
What an extraordinary journey we've taken today, really from the practical, action-oriented steps of AA Step 9, all the way through the profound, soul-bearing odyssey of St. Augustine in his Confessions. We've witnessed how both paths really converge, haven't they? They emphasize rigorous self-examination, honest admission of wrongs, a deep willingness to change, and that active process of restitution, not merely as an apology, but as a way to restore justice and heal broken connections, ultimately becoming a person of profound integrity.
And what we've profoundly discovered, I think, is this universal thread, a core human need for reconciliation, both with oneself and with others, that is truly ancient and deeply spiritual. The wisdom embedded in St. Augustine's personal narrative, penned centuries ago, echoes directly in the 12 steps of AA today. It speaks to a timeless truth about the human spirit's boundless capacity for transformation and the enduring power of love, honesty, and courage to mend what addiction and self-centeredness break.
So for you, our listener, here's maybe a provocative thought to carry with you. Reflect on your own life. What relationships, past or present, might not be fully aligned with your authentic self? Or where perhaps you haven't truly owned your part in past harms? And what might it look like for you to move from merely acknowledging those past harms to actively pursuing true restitution? Not just, to soothe your own conscience, but to genuinely foster healing, connection, and a new sense of justice and integrity for everyone involved.
Perhaps, like Augustine, your own deep dive into self-reflection could be the start of a profound, transformative journey toward a more authentic and reconciled life.